Hi everyone, it is so nice to meet you. My name is Claire Venus. I am an engagement consultant and mentor and Substack expert. I'm recording this class as part of your early bird perk for purchasing our book, How to Build a World-Class Substack. So it's not available anywhere else. It's based on some research and development that I've done within my own Substack ecosystem and 4 things that I want to share with you about joyful growth. So without further ado, we shall get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If you haven't been over to either of my Substack publications, the 2 main publications that I work on are Creatively Conscious and Sparkle on Substack. So I'm going to start by showing you the back office of, you might have guessed it, recommendations over in Sparkle on Substack and talking through that. So the main thing to know about recommendations is that it is a long game. So when we press that recommendation button, it's really, a mystery as to what might happen with that button and how things might work in the back office of Substack. But what we do know is that it does work. So I've been keeping an eye on recommendations for well over a year now. If we have a look at my first publication that I came to Substack with, Creatively Conscious, which I run as a digital magazine, you can see that there are over 1,000 subscribers from recommendations with 168 publications recommending me. My top publication is Gillian from The Light on Sea. Now, Gillian has a very large social media presence across Instagram and across Substack. So Gillian isn't posting on Substack so much. So what's happening is when she does tell people on her socials that she has a Substack, they head on over. They're new to the platform usually, and then they filter into my ecosystem because I'm one of the people that Substack says, hey, you might also like Claire's work. Susie is a colleague and friend of mine, and she has Heartleap Substack. Lots of subscribers have come to me through Susie. That's a really good fit. We've got very similar life-aligned values, so I'm not at all surprised that Susie's there. Both of these 2 women are in the northeast of England. So it's really interesting to me that people who I've made a physical in-person connection with are my top 2 Substack subscribe recommendations, top 2 referrers. And then I have Louise from Everyday Knitter. So Louise is someone that I came across in Substack on the early days, and we'd also chatted across on Twitter. So we have had like a connection there before Substack. So in terms of the people who read Louise's work, again, there's a synergy with the type of slow-lived type content that I like to write about over on Creatively Conscious. And then it goes down. Obviously, I'm one of my own top referrers there as well. But basically, all of these referrers, all of these referrers on the top page, the essence of what a reader might like is the same within my publication as it is in theirs. There are no surprises there. Slow-lived life, bits on motherhood, bits on gardening, bits on self-seeding your business, bits on wholehearted living, all of that stuff. There is a natural synergy with the readers that like to read those people and then the readers that like to read me. So obviously all of those numbers start to add up, and I've had this publication just over 2 years now, and they'll just keep growing and growing and growing. So those people have recommended me. I've obviously recommended them back, as you can see, and there's just a really natural fit with us recommending each other's work. We're going to have a slightly different reach depending on how we're using other platforms, depending on how much we're publishing on Substack. So just to know what your first page of recommendations is and who these people are is a really, really smart move. You want to be able to look at these people and understand what it is that they write about, what their readers are into. You want to do collaborations with them. You want to get to know them really, really well because there's a massive crossover with them. So no matter how big their online profile is on or off Substack, this is just a really good piece of work to do to figure out who these people are and how you might be able to work together and support each other's work. Over on Sparkle, something else entirely has gone on. So my top referrer was always Sarah Fay over at Writers at Work. If you don't know her work, I'm sure you do by now, but if you don't know her work, it's incredible. She's a brilliant Substack expert and educator. She's a Substack strategist as well. She's really, really good at what she does. She's an incredible writer. So it made sense that she would be sending people over to me because we already know, the 2 of us, that there is a natural crossover with our work. She has a much bigger Substack presence than I do. do. She works with a lot of writers who have a really, really high rate of subscribers and paid subscribers, and gets a lot of referrals and recommendations through that pool of writers because she's a professional writer herself. She's very good at what she does. So some people want to come over to Sparkle as well, and that's great. Then this is David over at How to Write for a Living. So David talks primarily to writers. He talks about making money as a writer. He talks about Medium, all that good stuff. This is Molly at Slow Scottish Stories. So Molly is a full-time writer, content creator. Again, talks about what it's like to write for a living, talks about what it's like to earn money through diverse income streams. And then I have Beth Kempton, which is a relatively new recommendation. And I wanted to focus in for you guys on Beth's recommendation and Catherine's recommendation here. So Catherine Rayner is a client of mine. She's an illustrator. She has a really big Instagram presence and a big social media presence generally. When Catherine came to Substack, one of the first things she did was recommend my publication. We were talking through recommendations and how they work. She pressed the recommendation button. I did the same for her. And then because when she does a post, she'll tell her people on Instagram about it and try and get them over. When they sign up to Substack, they are prompted to sign up to my publication as well. So for some of them, they won't be interested in Substack education. You know, that's not going to be their thing. They might have slipped and just pressed the button and they've subscribed, but it is generating a lot of publications to come over. And this is all in the last 2 months. So these 506 subscribers have come in the last 2 months. With Beth, this has been in the last few weeks that Beth has recommended my publication. She doesn't recommend a ton of publications. She is recommending mine. I do think there is a natural fit again with Beth. You know, she holds space for writers to hone in on their creative voice, hone in on their soul whispers, hone in to do their best writing work in the world. She's an incredible space holder. So I do think, again, there is a natural fit with the way I'm holding space for people on Substack education. And then my pal Adam over at 10 Minute Artist. I know that Adam has done a lot of work at telling his Twitter subscribers, Twitter X subscribers about his Substack. So I know that all of that's going on. We've worked together in the past. We held a session for writers and illustrators who were interested in finding ways to work together on their Substack. So these are all my colleagues, you know, these are all people I've worked with. I'm working with Catherine as a client. I've worked with Sarah Faye. I've been part of a paid community. We've podcasted together. I've done a collaboration with David and wrote for his publication. Molly's been on my podcast. Beth is about to come on my podcast. Adam and I have worked together. Ellen and I talk a lot behind the scenes, and Ellen will come on my podcast. So it just goes to show that all of the people that you're naturally leaning towards working with are probably going to be your best referrers. And I did want to just drill down into how different they are for both publications. Leanne over at Human Design has a big Facebook following. So I would imagine as she's bringing her Facebook followers over to Substack, everybody will be new to Substack. So again, they're subscribing to me to understand what it is. She's also given me a couple of shout outs in her emails. And then Kat has a big Instagram presence, as does Clover Stroud. So I think, you know, it's safe to say that those bigger numbers, and, you know, there's quite a big difference, isn't there, between this one and these here. And this is because as soon as Catherine came to the platform, she went viral. And so in that virality, my publication benefited from people finding her and being recommended mine. And otherwise, it's like little small numbers, and it's still amazing, and it's still all chips away at your total of recommended subscribers from recommendations. But some big stuff can happen if a note goes viral and the person's got their publication set up in the right way. If a person is telling a big Instagram audience or another big social media audience about your publication, all of this stuff is going to start clocking up. So it's really worth investing time into recommendations. What I say to my clients and my members is set a timer on the first of the month, and that week just write 2 or 3 recommendations for people that you've enjoyed reading. I don't advocate for reaching out to people to say, hey, will you recommend my publication? I think that that will just come naturally, and you'll get your best right fit with the people that you want to work with your colleagues, and with other people that come through that. So that kind of trickle down effect from the readers that end up kind of coming on into your Substack. So if we go back into the front office, I'm going to talk about another 3 ways that I have noticed growth really working on Substack. So we'll just head on over. One of the other ways that I've noticed is having this pinned post, this hero post. So you can check the statistics on this, but if you have a post that is quite visually catching, that is saying what it is. So I've asked somebody a question here. I'm talking to one reader at a time. Hi, I'm Claire. Welcome. Want to grow your Substack in a joyful, sustainable way? Me too. I'm so glad you're here. I can't wait to see what magic we make together. So this is all my brand, my invite, the way that I do things in the world. And this has driven over 100 subscribers. So even though the engine of how Substack works, we could be reading in the app, we could be reading in our email. When people land on this homepage, it's really worth doing the work to set things up in the right way so it's an instant subscribe for people. So this hero post should be part about page, about your reader, about who you're hoping to come and read your work, who you're hoping to come and pay for your work. It should be a little bit about you, and obviously acknowledge anything that you want to acknowledge in your career and who you are in the world. And then it should give people a bit of something else, a bit of nuance, a bit of something different. It should be interesting to read. So it should be some of your best work. So I do not think at the moment that's some of my best work. It's old, it needs updating, but it's good enough and it's been working. So that's another way to really consider what you're putting out there front and center. Don't be afraid to link that in your welcome email. Don't be afraid to link it at the bottom of your emails, your welcome emails, all of those places. There are multiple ways our subscribers will navigate our Substack. So if you've done a really brilliant piece of work, a piece of cornerstone content, Russell would call it, then make sure that you're linking to it. Make sure that you know about, that your subscribers know that it's there. The other thing that I wanted to chat to you guys about is notes, obviously. Notes is a brilliant way to grow your Substack. Now, we are talking in this class about right fit subscribers. So you have to know what your right fit subscriber is. And one of the easiest ways to do this is just literally take a pen. Oh, I thought that was pink, but it's not. It's orange. Let's go with this one. This is actually orange. So you take a pen, you do a gingerbread person like this. Excuse my terrible drawing. And within this gingerbread person, you're going to write in the middle how you think your ideal reader feels. And then around the outside, you're going to write everything that your ideal reader likes. Now, you might not know this if you're relatively new to Substack, if you're relatively new to publishing online, but you'll soon get to know your readers. You'll soon get to understand the posts that resonate with them, the posts that are less popular. You'll get to know them through the comments. You'll get to know them through chatting on notes. So let's just take the first person in the top of my feed here. So this is Amanda. I first got to know Amanda through notes, and then she was part of a conference that I was also part of called the Content Summit. So with Amanda, there's a few things that I know about her just through knowing her on notes. I know that she is an editor. I know that that's what she does for a job. I know that she's just hit Substack bestseller because I saw a note that she did about it. And I know that she put out a beautiful survey into the world that was an act of service to understand more about paid subscribers. So those are the things that I've learned about Amanda. Now, before I knew all of that about what she does in the world, I might have known something like she likes to wear red, or she has cats, or she posts a dog, or she lives in America. Like all of these things are things that I know about Amanda. Now, I don't know how she feels, right? Because I don't know her yet. And that how your reader feels is the really important bit, because then you can speak directly to them in your posts, in your content, and you can help to show them that there is a natural fit between the way that you're writing and the articles that you're writing and the posts that you're writing and what they want to read, but you need to get to know them. So with notes, you're getting to know the people who you follow and who you subscribe to. Now, I subscribe to 245 Substack publications, and yes, I read them all. I don't read any of the previews. If I don't pay, then I don't read previews. I just delete those out of my inbox, but I do read them all. If I get behind, I tend to go back and like read a few articles at once. So my notes feed will be full of people who I am subscribed to or I follow, or people who are part of my membership, and there's a crossover there. So when we change the filter here from explore to following, we'll see what comes up. So Tamsin, again, another colleague. We've done a podcast together. Tamsin's an artist. Tamsin lives in Europe. Tamsin moves around a lot. Like, these are all things that I know about Tamsin just by seeing her name. So it's very easy for me to like this note. It's very easy for me to write a comment, to read what she's got to say and to write a comment. It just feels easy. These people are my colleagues. I don't know Tom, but he's in my feed a lot. I feel like I should read his books. I don't know Janet, but again, she's in my feed a lot. And it'll just be my feed as well. And then anyone that anybody is restacking the work of, whose name I don't recognize, I would have a little look at. So yeah, so Lindsay is someone who I've worked with before. I love Lindsay's work. I've not heard of this writer's name before, so I would be like, okay, am I interested in that? Let's save the article, or let's follow the person. Am I already following? Yeah, I was already following. So let's follow the person, because why not have them in that feed? Why not have them in that notes feed so I can get to know more about what Katrine is on about? What is she talking about on Substack? What else have we got here? Brian, Janet again, Laura. So I know that Laura talks about cacao. I know that Laura travels a lot. I know that she has lived near Glastonbury in the UK, that she's German, her heritage is German. So there's things that I already know about Laura, even though we've never met in real life. So again, going back to this, obviously, you know, there's lots of different diversity as you're scrolling through your notes feed, but you're getting to know the people who you're following and where that natural fit, that natural crossover is. And that's going to just give you much more energy around how you connect to people on notes. Now, we know that notes can go viral, and that can drive a lot of publications to have a big influx in subscribers. It's not something I massively advocate for, simply because managing the internet en masse is just a huge task. Better again, just to have that long game of just things chipping away. You know, you want to be on notes every day. You want to be chatting a little bit, liking people's posts, doing your own restacks of posts. You just want to be visible here. When notes first arrived in April 2023, myself and lots of other people were straight on there, and our subscriber count was going up and up and up and up and up, because we were all discovering each other for the first time. If you feel like it's always the same names within your following feed, remember that you've got the explore option. So this is going to be Substack's algorithmically chosen feed of what they think that you want to see, which is fine. But like a few of those things, try and recognize some names, get to know people, try and understand what the echo chamber of Substack is showing you. As well as that, I really advocate for using the explore pages on Substack. So before notes existed, I hung out here. Like, I had a look at who was recommended. I had a look at staff picks and who the staff were recommending. I read some really, really cool stuff. I made some connections with some brilliant people. As you go through the categories here, then you'll be able to see who is in the top 10 of any category, and then further than that as well. So let's pick food and drink just for argument's sake. So this is just lovely Sunday content, isn't it? You know, you might not want to subscribe to loads of food writers. You might want to subscribe to a couple at a time for a few months at a time. You can literally pick and mix, do whatever you want. So let's have a look at who is at the top. So yeah, Caroline's just announced she's got a book out, which is incredible, isn't it? So I've seen this in notes, and I do really want to do a celebratory note for Caroline. I'm sure it's a really overwhelming time for her, but I really want to celebrate like that work for her, because she's a colleague. You know, she's writing on Substack, I'm writing on Substack, you're writing on Substack. We should be celebrating people here. We should be really congratulating them when brilliant things happen. So as we scroll down, obviously there are various different people that we could subscribe to. You could just go that little bit extra mile and just go a little bit further down. So the top 20 Substacks are going to be doing relatively well. Anybody a little bit further down is on the way, and there's no reason why you couldn't just click on over, subscribe to their Substack if you're interested in what it is that they write about, meet some of their subscribers. Let's try one for you and show you. Let's just pick, what should we pick? We'll pick this one. Okay, so picnic date. Welcome to picnic date, recipes, grocery lists, meal prep ideas, and more. Hundreds of paid subscribers. Amazing. Okay, we'll go on in and have a little look. This is a lot of subscribers, right? Cool. So I'm already really enjoying this aesthetic. This just feels really, really fun. There's 29,000 other people here, so I picked a good one. So I'm not going to subscribe for now. I'm just going to have a little look in. So what I could be doing is just seeing if there's any sort of community going on. It looks like that this is mainly an email community. There doesn't seem to be much going on unless there's stuff going on in chat. What you sometimes see is, someone just wanted me to subscribe there. What you sometimes see is a big long list of comments when you come over to someone's publication. So I'm probably better showing you on mine because I am a really big advocate for community. So if we go into my threads here, this one here, 269. So say if you just come across Sparkle on Substack and you came across a really high number of comments in a comment thread, what you could do is click into those comments. I'll open up in a minute, and then literally just start having a chat with people. Okay, so I'd be looking to have a chat with Amanda. So Amanda's saying, thanks for this, Claire. Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda. I write The Mindful Writer and The Tower of Storytelling. I also publish a literary journal, Westward, sharing other people's short stories. So we're looking for an inroad to be able to have a lovely chat with Amanda. I'm not saying we're going to go over and subscribe. We're just literally chatting to our colleagues. That's all we need to do. We don't need to, it's no deeper than that at this point. So written interviews, as I can fit writing the answers in around other jobs, and in writing the answers, it helps clarify things in my mind about what I'm doing, and words. Want to connect with more people and grow a community of writers who share my passion for mindful storytelling and use now words to bring us all closer together. So a lovely, simple answer to this would be, love the sound of all of this, Amanda. How long have you been on Substack? Okay, so what you've got in common is you're both on Substack, right? You're there, Amanda's there. You've read that and you connect with it. Just say that you do. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. But say that you do. You're going to ask Amanda that question. You're just going to come in and you're going to just chat with Amanda, and that's fine. I'll not do that because I do actually know Amanda, and that'll be very strange if I posted that. But you could do that, throughout all of this. I wouldn't be spamming somebody else's publication, but you can have a few chats, so head into the comments of bigger publications, see who has a comment thread where it's busy and there's loads going on. It's a really, really good way to meet people. And from meeting people, you get to know this guy better, and you get to obviously grow your subscriber base as well. The names who you have started chatting with, obviously you can follow on notes, and then that's going to crop up in your notes feed as well. So you've always got that option. So the last way in terms of joyful growth and growth when you were asleep. So we've covered recommendations and how to work within recommendations, how to better understand who you're crossing over with within recommendations. We've had a little chat about the hero post and what that can do for your publication, and then using that URL and popping that in lots of other places. We've had a little chat about notes. I mean, notes is just such a gift right now. It's been just over a year. There's so much potential for meeting colleagues and chatting to people and getting new subscribers, getting new paid subscribers, helping people to understand what you're about. The last way, and I think this is super, super important for you guys to hone in on, let me just go back to my publication, is to be super, super clear in terms of what you're about. So you would not believe the amount of times I come in to do an audit for someone and I'm literally got no clue, like who they are in the world, what they write about. It is just very, very muddy. I cannot see the wood for the trees. I don't know what they want to put out in the world. I don't know who they want to attract, and they don't either. So one of the biggest things to do is to really hone in on our clarity of who we are and who we're for. And some of that, I want to avoid the word niche or niche, as they say in the US, but some of that is about owning the space that we want to take up. So if you want to be all things to everyone, try and be all things to everyone, and you'll give yourself a more than full-time job on the internet, because you'll just have a lot of boundary crossing and weirdness going on. Try and set something up where it's really obvious what you're about and who you're for, like Sparkle on Substack. It's not taking itself too seriously. It's about people who want to find the sparkle, you know, find the joy within themselves, connect to other people who want to do the same. It's not going to get like a load of serious literary critics over here. Like, that's not what it's for. It's for people who want to use their creativity on the platform. It's for people who want to find creative approaches to use in Substack. So it was very purposeful for me to call this Sparkle on Substack for lots of reasons, really. I could sense at the time there was going to be a swell of Substack educators. I could sense at the time that there were people who were, you know, promising certain things, and I didn't want to fit a mold that I'm not. You know, I wanted to offer what I can offer as an engagement consultant, as a project manager, as a mentor. So we're doing some work on what this brand was and who it was for was like the first step to me understanding, okay, like if this goes well, this will be my right fit people. So everybody who comes into Sparkle for the most part knows what they're coming into. It's really clear, it's really obvious what it is I offer and the style in which I teach. So when you have a look at my description for Sparkle, sorry, so it's a synergy with this writer profile description. There's a connection between the two. So if people are coming across those two things at the same time, Sparkle is an extension of what I'm saying here in my writer profile, as is Creatively Conscious, but in a different way. And it's focused on the reader, right? So a bespoke space to help you stay creative on Substacks, twice monthly space holding, co-working, workshops, teaching, weekly chats, podcast, all the tools to help enhance your journey to growth on Substack joyfully and sustainably. And then it goes on to say top 15 publication, but that text cut off at the minute. All of that is really, really clear. So when you're setting out your stall, so imagine we're at the market and you're setting out your stall, you're not going to set out cheese next to chocolate, next to bread, next to cakes, next to hairbands. You know, you're going to be like, I'll just focus in on the cheese for now. You know, here's the cheese. Okay, well, even within cheese, there must be hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of cheese. So get really specific. What type of cheese have you got to offer? What is your stall on Substack offering out to people? Because you will just be a magnet for your right people. If people are confused, if you're confused, then it's just a big ball of confusion. Clarity is king in any sort of scenario online because there is so much room for misinformation. So getting really clear and working with your readers to use their language is super, super important. So as things have gone on, I've clocked and noticed what readers have said to me in terms of how they describe what I offer on Substack. So it's a really small thing, but my readers very early on, the ones that were paying, started calling it the Sparkle Call, and it started feeling much more like a membership than it was a paid subscription offer. So I say the Sparkle Calls today, like I use that language, I reflect it back to them. I call them members because I want to hold them in that way, and that feels much more of what I offer than it does like a paid subscription service or a paywalled article. You know, I mainly hold people within a membership portal. So thinking about what would work for you, no matter what you're doing, whether you're writing on Substack, whether you're podcasting, whether you've got creativity, whether you want to hold classes, you know, anything is possible on Substack, and people will join at any tier, whether that's as a free reader, as a paid subscriber or member, or as a founding member, or obviously you can change the name of that tier. So you just getting super, super clear about what the offer is for each of those tiers within your Substack is a really, really good move. In terms of other things with growth, I think, you know, a lot of it's mindset. And I do think that there's something in you owning where you are on your journey. So a year ago, when I first started Sparkle, you know, I felt very nervous about what might be possible. I'd done some beautiful emails that had gone really, really well in my other publication, which I called Stay Creative on Substack. And there'd been such a warm response that I was confident enough to set up a second publication called Sparkle on Substack, and happy enough to just run with it and see how it all went. But at the same time, you know, I wouldn't have been able to cope with hundreds of people coming into that publication at once. So there's something of a gift in being able to explore what's possible for your own growth as you are growing as a writer, as a creative, as a space holder. As you're understanding the platform, you know, there's a lot of complexities in the platform. There's a lot of settings to get our heads around. So almost, yeah, just giving yourself that grace around it takes a little bit of time, but doing the things in the right way, like recommendations, like being really clear in your hero post, making friends with people, making colleagues with people, and then giving some space and time to that clarity element is just such a brilliant thing to be able to spend time in, to be able to invest time in. All of the growth is coming. You know, Substack is huge and getting huger, and it's nowhere near as huge as social media. So us being on here now means that we can do all the work figuring everything out before we have to deal with hundreds upon thousands of subscribers coming and arriving every day. So I hope that was super helpful for you guys. I'm over at Sparkle on Substack if you need anything else, and it would be so, so lovely to meet you over there. I'd be absolutely delighted if you wanted to stop by as a free subscriber, if you wanted to join the membership. If you need any more information, feel free to send me a message or an email. Thanks all.